The Colorado Springs housing market just flipped. And what I mean by that is, really, it's a shit show. And I realize that's a little aggressive, but that's essentially all it is. Everybody wants to say it's a great time to buy. Some people say it's a horrible time to buy. Sellers are still trying to get the absolute highest value out of their home and wondering when the best time to sell is. So let's sort through all this. Let's see what this shit show looks like and if we can make any sense of it. I am Mark Hubert with My Front Range Living. I'm a local real estate agent here in Colorado Springs, and I have all the information you need to make the best decision. I want to talk about trends going on in the Colorado Springs market, okay? And make sure that you're sticking around for my prediction as far as the trends are going to go here in the next few months in Colorado Springs. First and foremost, average sales price. Now, I'm not talking medium, I'm talking average sales price. Over the course of the last several months, it's been anywhere between $500,000 and $550,000. So what that means is we are well above average when it comes to the average sales price of a home here in Colorado Springs. Here's the deal. That's not going to change all that much. Now, granted, this is over the last several months. I don't want to get too specific because we're going to talk trends in a little bit. It's not so much a cost of living, and we hear that a lot. Oh, the cost of living, the cost of living. It's not so much the cost of living as it is the cost of housing. And here in Colorado Springs, the cost of housing is pretty darn pricey when you look at the average sales price. So when we talk average sales price, and we also talk median sales price, meaning half the house is sold for more, half the house is sold for less than this median price. What can you get for that? Well, the reality of it is a starter home. And I know it's weird, but we've talked over and over and over on our channel about the fact that we're just not an affordable place to live and buy a home when it comes to Colorado Springs. We're just not. That's the reality of it. What can you get? Probably a fixer that needs a little bit of a hug or a little bit of attention. You're certainly not going to get a new build, or at least one that has any sort of space. And, you know, you're not going to get maybe that super giant open concept. You're going to have to do some work to this house. It's going to require some paint. It's going to require a hug, like I said. It's not an ideal situation. $450, I mean, let's be honest. I think we can talk about the fact that $450 doesn't go as far as you think it should, especially here in Colorado Springs. For those of you who are thinking, I'm going to get my dream home right out of the gate, probably not. You're going to need to be patient and understand that your first home here in Colorado Springs is very much a stepping stone to get you pointed in the right direction. Build some equity so you can take the next step to your dream home, but the first house here in Colorado Springs probably isn't going to be it. So another option in Colorado Springs has always been new construction. For those of you who have followed the channel at all, you know that we talk about new construction on a pretty regular basis because that's some of the options that people had when there was a scramble for housing. And truth be told, we're still well below where we should be for the housing units necessary for the population we have. But new houses makes the fact that it's, number one, those contracts are geared specifically toward the builder. Be wary of that and make sure that you have representation. That's where we come in. Make sure that you have representation because in that case, the seller absolutely looking out for themselves and themselves alone. The builders don't care what happens to you. They just need to move units. But like I said, we have to have more housing units here in Colorado Springs. Make sure that you're looking at houses, not apartments. We're seeing apartments go up everywhere. In fact, if you take a look at the permits that are being pulled here at the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, you're seeing more apartments being permitted than you are single family homes. And that's kind of a problem because most people, when they look at houses, are wanting that single family experience, not so much an attached product. New homes are absolutely an option as you come out here, and they offer really great financing options. However, you are going to pay a premium for that. So make sure that if you do look at new homes, you are looking to the local experts to help you out and guide you through that process. Especially in this market right now, builders are also throwing in more and more incentives, not just on the financing side. They're throwing in appliances, whether it be the refrigerator, the washer and dryer, things that aren't normally included in a brand new build. They're throwing that in. You can also talk them down on price. That's happening a lot as well. You can get fences built, landscaping, things like that. So make sure that you're represented when you go in there so you have a professional that's negotiating on your behalf, because I promise you the builder is not. They are not negotiating on your behalf. So make sure that you give us a call so we can help you out with that. So the next thing I want to talk about is getting a good deal on real estate. And we get that all the time. Mark, how do we get the best deal on real estate possible? Well, first and foremost, that's pretty general. I want to make sure that it's specific to your needs. Here's what a lot of people don't understand. Number one, price point is always something we want to talk about, but when it comes to helping out a seller and what you can get on the buy side, a seller gets to write off concessions. They don't get to write off a lower price, they get to write off concessions. So maybe you pay that full price, the full asking price, but you get concessions, and that way it helps the seller as well, and they're more intrigued by your offer. It helps you out getting the concessions, and it helps them out, so it makes your offer look the best. A good deal, again, is very, very subjective. What are you looking for? It's not just price. I like to tell people to take a look at the whole of the transaction, meaning what is your payment going to be? We need to look at that. Are you okay with any payment, or are you looking for a specific payment? Are you looking at a price point? Do you want concessions? How do we do all this? Maybe, just maybe, you want it professionally cleaned before you move in. Great, we can absolutely negotiate that as well. It just depends on what you're looking for. I will, however, tell you this. It is much easier to get a deal in real estate now than it was 3 years ago, so make sure that you're talking to your real estate professional, that's me, and you're trying to figure out what it is you're looking for in a home, and we'll get you the best deal that's available. The next question that we get all the time is, hey Mark, are the housing prices going to come down in Colorado Springs? And the reality of it is this: if I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't be on your computer screen right now. I would be flying my jet somewhere tropical. I don't know, but here's my take on it. I do think that we're going to see the market shift ever so slightly, not to the point where home values are going to plummet, but I think that you're going to be able to find a better deal on homes than you could even this same time last year. You're going to continue to see homes hit the price about 3% higher than they were the year before. We're seeing those trends right now. It's just whether or not a buyer is willing to pay for it right now, or do they wait? Like I said at the top, buyers are waiting for the market to crash, and sellers still know that they can get top dollar if their home is presented well. So we have kind of this whole fight over what the market's going to do, and the reality of it is there are still buyers. As I said, we are still short inventory here in Colorado Springs. We do not have enough housing units to justify the population that we have. So we still have buyers in the market. It's just going to be a matter of if the seller is reasonable in their asking price. If the seller is listing their home and marketing it at an appropriate market value, they are going to get traction on their home. No question about it. Will housing prices come down? No. Will they stabilize? Absolutely. No one's overpaying for a home anymore. We're well past that market. People are paying fair market value for their homes now, which is great, not only for buyers, but for sellers as well. We need a market that's sustainable long term, which leads me to trends. What's going to happen here in, we'll just say, the fourth quarter of 2024? A lot of people like to hang their hat on, well, we got to see what's going to happen in the election. I'm here to tell you it does not matter what happens in the election. Don't care who wins. That's not going to impact our housing market. And I'll tell you why. The biggest impact that we're seeing right now is affordability. And insurance is impacting that. Interest rates are impacting that, and home values are impacting that. It doesn't matter how much money anybody gives away to first-time home buyers or anything like that. Those three things, insurance, value, and mortgage interest rates. Those are the three things that are going to impact. I don't see a lot of shift in that. And when you take a look at the fact that consumer debt is at an all-time high, I highly doubt that people are going to be in an equitable position to put an offer in on a house if they're not already in one. Now, here's what's great. Those who bought in 2020 and 2021, or even refinanced in that time, you're going to notice a lot of equity. So you might take that equity and move on to the next house. But like I said, consumer debt at an all-time high. Consumer confidence at an all-time low. When you take into consideration the fact that people who are out there right now, and we've talked about this in the past, 80% of people with a mortgage right now have a sub 4% interest rate. That means unless you have to sell, you're not selling your house. So if you're looking to buy, that means the inventory is going to get stagnant over time, and you're just going to have to move into a house that maybe you're not thrilled with because nothing new's coming on the market. No one is selling their home right now unless they absolutely have to. Couple that with the fact that 40% of Americans own their home outright. Again, it's going to create this dam of inventory where it's not going up, but buyers still want to buy. And so back to maybe you need to buy a new home. You could, but their prices are going to be impacted by the fact that these homes over here aren't moving either, so we can price it whatever we need to. That's why I really don't think what happens in November from a political standpoint matters, nor do I think it's going to have an impact on our market. Here's what I'll tell you. I think that it's not just the housing market that has to shift. Yeah, inflation is out there for sure. Everything's exponentially higher. I think at some point, somebody's going to have to take a look at insurance, because when you tack on an extra few $100s a month, that impacts affordability. And insurance companies have not been a part of a conversation. Another trend that I want to talk about is real estate agents themselves. For those of you who have followed the channel at all for a while, you know that we've been talking about this settlement that we have with the National Association of Realtors. First and foremost, it is still proposed. It's not finalized. It's not supposed to be finalized until when? You guessed it, after the election. And the reason that that matters is because the election will impact that settlement. Should Donald Trump win, the DOJ will largely back off of pushing any sort of real estate buttons or keeping their foot on the throats of the National Association of Realtors. Should Harris win, then you are going to see the foot on the throat of the association in a big way. You'll continue to see the Department of Justice push and lean on the realtor brand as a whole. Here's what you have to understand. You do not have to be a realtor in order to sell real estate. And a lot of real estate agents are going to figure that out when their bills come due later this year to renew their membership to their associations. You only have to have a license, especially here in the state of Colorado. You can be a real estate agent and still sell real estate. So I think one of the trends that we want to keep an eye on as well is the attrition amongst real estate agents. If you are looking to buy or sell real estate, especially in the Colorado Springs area, it is more important now than ever to make sure that you have good representation. Do not sign up with an agent that might bail here in the next 2 or 3 months because they're not practicing, they haven't had any business, and they can't afford to continue their membership in the local association. Or maybe they bounce on the association altogether. There's still a couple question marks. Are you still able to practice? Where are you practicing? You have to have your license hung under someone who is not a realtor, if that's what you choose to do. So there's a lot of different moving parts. So one of the trends that we're keeping an eye on, as well as all of this housing stuff, is with the agents as well. If you'll remember at the top of this video, I said it's a shit show. Now you know what I mean. I'm not trying to create hyperbole by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that there's a lot of variables out there right now in the industry, not just on the housing side, but in the professional who's helping you buy and sell real estate side as well. And here's why professionalism within our industry makes a difference and why you should have good representation from your agent. The trained professional agent is going to be the one that helps you navigate this entire transaction. Who's going to get you the top dollar if you're a seller, and who's going to help you negotiate effectively if you're the buyer and or the seller. If you want the best deal in real estate, whether you be on the buy side or the sell side, you have to have a professional who has your best interest in mind. And the only way to do that is to reach out to a professional real estate agent. So make sure that you're vetting who you're working with. Talk to them, ask a few questions, interview them, or just simply reach out to us, and we may not be the right fit, but we will find who is. Let's be honest, not everybody likes me. I understand that, but I want to make sure that you're well represented because it's the industry that I choose to live and thrive in that's impacted. If you have a bad experience, that impacts everybody in the industry. So make sure that you get a professional real estate agent to represent you. If you are thinking about buying or selling here in the Colorado Springs area and you need some help, make sure you go in the description of the video down there, and you can find us at myfrontrangeliving.com. We'd be more than happy to help you out any way that we possibly can, because it is our goal to help you make Colorado Springs feel like home.